welcome back to TNZ Travel. My name's Tristan.
And I'm Zach.
If you guys are new to our channel, get ready to follow us on our adventures around the world,
where we show you guys tips like staying on a budget,
goodies that we can find,
or maybe hidden gems that you've never heard of before.
If you guys love travel as much as we do, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and turn on those notifications so you know when our next video will pop up.
Today's video is part 1 of our trip to Arizona.
So our last video had us ending up in our trip to Utah. Now if you guys want to watch that video, make sure you hit that link above. So our first excursion in Arizona was the Horseshoe Bend. Now this is considered the Instagram darling just because of how beautiful it is.
This trail was relatively easy compared to a lot of the other trails we did, and it was pretty flat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
yeah.
It was pretty flat.
Yeah.
Flat.
Flat.
Yeah.
Flat. Horseshoe Bend is actually inside of Glen Canyon, but if you guys want to go to the overlook, you'll have to go into city land. To get into the parking lot, it is $10, which is fairly easy compared to national parks that cost about $30 to $35 to go into. Horseshoe
Bend is a good location to visit for sunset. Don't fret if you get there early because there's lots of room to explore up at the top once you get there.
After we were finished at the Horseshoe Bend, we drove all the way down to Flagstaff.
For dinner, we wanted to stay fairly cheap, so we went to Nimarco's Pizza, located in Flagstaff near our hotel.
We stayed in an Econo lodge in Flagstaff off of Route 66, and I thought it was a really cute motel. This was one of our cheaper stays. It was only about $35 and it had free breakfast.
In the morning after the free breakfast, we traveled about an hour and a half to the Grand Canyon.
Now to get into this park, since it is a national park, it is $35 or it is free with that annual park pass. Now this park is absolutely massive. There are so many things to do, and we didn't have that much time to do everything, so we had to kind of pick and choose our battles here.
Since the visitor center isn't open, they have these little stands that suggest things that you can do dependent upon the amount of time that you are spending at the park. So the first thing they suggest, pretty much regardless of how much time you have, is to go to the Mather Point Overlook, which is located right next to the visitor center.
Then we also wanted to kind of choose a trail that would bring us slightly down to the canyon. Since it is pretty deep, we definitely knew we wouldn't be able to go all the way down, but something that would give us a great view was Bright Angels Trail. Now it was really slippery. We did not have any of the poles or any of the cleats for your shoes, so we were kind of wiggling and wobbling, and definitely recommend it for you guys if you decide to go if there's snow and ice.
With Bright Angel Trail, what they normally recommend is you continue to hike to the rest houses, and then once you get to a rest house and you feel like you've gone far enough, you can turn around and go back or go all the way through. But to go from point A to point B on Bright Angel Trail, they normally suggest you spend multiple days doing that. The first rest house on Bright Angel Trail is 1.5 miles in.
And the second one is at 3 miles. Now we didn't even get to go to any rest houses since we had to get to some other excursions that same day, so we kind of stopped maybe like a half a mile going down, and that was just about it. But it was still a really beautiful view, and I highly recommend going there.
Something they suggest you do if you don't have a lot of time is they have an overlook drive you can do where you drive around the entirety of the Grand Canyon and get to see all the different overlooks and views from the top and outside as opposed to going into the canyon.
So after the Grand Canyon, we knew we had to go get some lunch. Now we saw these places everywhere, and it was called Del Taco.
From the Grand Canyon, we drove about 2.5 hours to Sedona.
Now Sedona is a really cute town, so if you guys have some time, I highly recommend kind of seeing the sights and looking at the stores that they have close by. But to stay on time, we wanted to see sunset from a beautiful spot, so we went to a trail called Cathedral Rock.
If you're coming to Cathedral Rock for sunset, make sure you come nice and early because there is limited parking, and if you don't get a spot there, you have to travel on the interstate to overflow parking, and you have to walk a lot further to get to the beginning of the hike.
Now this is only a 0.7 mile hike, but it is extremely difficult. You really have to use not just your feet, but your knees, your hands, everything you got to get up there. It is very strenuous. But I do have to say, the hike and the strain is absolutely worth it. That was one of the most beautiful views that we had, and we hit it just in time for sunset. We even got to spot a couple taking wedding photos. Now if you guys want a daring Instagram shot, what you can do is go around the side, and there's a ledge that kind of looks over the entire valley. It is pretty scary, so just take it slow and be careful.
But again, you might want to get there early because the photo opportunity is one person at a time, and there can be a lot of people up there at once. You want to kind of get the first place in line if you can. And it's recommended that you bring a headlamp with you if you want to stay through the entirety of the sunset. It can obviously be hard to see once the sun sets, and as we said earlier, you have to climb up and down using your hands and feet so you won't be able to hold a flashlight. You'll either want to climb down before the sun sets or bring a headlamp with you.
Now after that strenuous hike, we definitely wanted to reward ourselves. There was a really cute ice cream place that was in Sedona. The place is called Rocky Road Ice Cream, and if you guys have never been there before and you find yourself in Sedona, highly recommend. The ice cream is to die for. Now luckily I did have some family that lived down in Scottsdale, Arizona. It is only about 15-20 minutes from Phoenix, which made it a great spot to stay so that we can get to other excursions the next day. Now my favorite part of our trip to Arizona, part 1, definitely had to be our hike onto Cathedral Rock. It was a very strenuous hike, but it was also really fun. So something that we definitely talked about is if we decide to go back again, we would definitely want to do the Grand Canyon since there was a lot to do and we didn't get to do very much. Maybe do some like hiking and camping down below into the canyon. So like in our other videos, some cheap tips that you guys can use are to get that annual park pass to save you guys some money if you guys are going to be visiting a lot of national parks, and to of course go to hotels that have free breakfast. Don't forget to tune in next Friday at 12 p.m. to hear all about our trip to Arizona part 2. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this inspires you to get up and go travel the world. See you later!